Neil, congratulations, a hard-earned 3 points today, but deserved?
Yeah, I think it was deserved. I don't remember Hursley having to make a save. A lot of balls in your box, throws and corners and free kicks, which you'd expect when you play Alfreton, who, you know, are good at what they do. And you know, they've won leagues and things, you know, by being effective at what they do, and they can play as well. But I was made up with our boys. I think you've seen the conversations that have been had in midweek, the training that we've done in midweek, in terms of, you know, battling and making sure that we're, you know, we're up for the fight. You know, like I think you could see from the first minute, particularly in midfield, we were winning our headers, going on second ball and very well. And you know, and if on another day, you know, young Max probably could have had that trick.
Doubly satisfying as well, given you were down to the bare bones today.
Yeah.
I know Danny Morton's on the bench, but he's barely fit, was he?
Danny wouldn't have come on. You know, it was as simple as that. Unless we were really struggling defensively, he had a very sore groin. So yeah, but you know, I've said all along, it's about a squad. Young Ryan's come in, got the winner, been in a battle. You know, he knows he's been in a game. You know, the pleasing thing for me, I think we had 3 18-year-old boys playing in our team today. You know, so people talk about, you know, and bringing youngsters through, and we had 3 18-year-old boys. You know, in obviously Rye, Jordan, and Maxie up front. So you know, I'm very pleased for them, because every one of them has put a real shift in. But the team, fantastic today, stood up to the physical battle. And as I say, probably should have won by more. No, they don't do very much for your heart.
Talk to me about Ryan's goal.
Yeah, great volley, you know, but that's what he wants, you know, with a young boy he's waited his chance. You know, we all seen him in pre-season, he's hard work and he's battled, and probably he's been unfortunate not to play. But as I said to him, when you come into a club of this size, you tend to go with what you know at first, to try and get your feet, you know, under the table and try and get some results on the board. But everyone will get an opportunity, and then it's up to that individual to say to me, well, you're not leaving me out, you're going to have to leave somebody else out. And you know, he's put a right shift in. He's been in a battle, he's been in an aerial battle, he's been played against, you know, a good winger. So you know, he knows he's been in the game. But pleasing thing for me is, yeah, it's 1-0. But I don't think that shows, you know, the true reality of what happened in the game.
Well, you're absolutely right. You mentioned Max Hazeldine, and 8 minutes after the restart, one-on-one with Matt Duke, and just fluffed his lines at the Cheadle line. What a moment that would have been for the young man. But he's had a terrific input today.
He has, and he gives us something else, doesn't he? One ball over the top, and the boys in there, you know. And when I went to watch him for Accrington in his game, you know, every time that happened, he was in and he scored. You know, so just a little bit of confidence, and you know, I think that's his second senior game of men's football officially. You know what I mean? And you know, to play at Stockport County, where he's born, you know, in Stockport, in front of all his mates, and in front of 3,500 people or 3,000 people. You know, that must be daunting for anyone, but to keep getting in there, and he's come up against some real tough defenders today, and done really well.
That was a terrific performance. And you mentioned a phrase used a moment ago about going with what you know, and you did that today. Matty Hamilton's come in on loan from Wigan, but you went with Carl Ledsham in the middle of the park, and a man of the match performance from Carl.
Yeah, what it was, you know, we took a little bit of criticism Tuesday, so you know, we went back to basics Thursday. There's, you know, a few heart-to-hearts, one-on-one chats with myself, and you know, we've coached and worked hard on pressing the game, which we thought we'd just come off. And obviously we didn't have Matty Hamilton in at that time, and I thought two things really. You know, let the lads in the main who lost on Tuesday make amends, you know, and prove to people that, you know, Tuesday wasn't what they're about. But also you've got to be fair to young Matty, that he hasn't trained with us. You know, we were in press and we knew it was it was going to be a big physical game. To throw a young lad straight into that, you know, would have been a little bit unfair. But mainly the reason was because I know Lewis and Carl can do the job. And, you know, it was about putting them in there. I know what they're like as characters. Their pride was hurt, you know, and they went out there and put a real shift in.
And of course, Hamilton will be available next weekend for the FA Cup tie at Fylde. I was talking to Carl Garner the other day, and he said you could have had Abbey Hay at home, Burscough at home, you get Fylde away, not the best draw, but they won't be delighted about it either, will they?
No, they won't. You know, as I say, we talk about luck. We haven't had much luck since we came in, and the cup draw just topped it off. You know, the title favourites at the start of the season away from home. But as you say, we've been there. They won't be, you know, they'll be saying exactly the same as us, that they could have had an easier draw. But that's football, isn't it? That's football. It's a cup game. We want to go there and win if we can. If not, you know, bring them back here at the minimum. But you know, from a personal point of view, I'm just going to enjoy today, and we'll worry about Filed. You know, I'll worry about it tomorrow when I've got the information and the analysis back, and then, you know, we'll take that into Tuesday and Thursday's training.
One player who won't be available, we know, is Glenn Rule. The league this week have announced that, or the FA rather, have announced the reasons for the 10-game ban. The club's now accepted that. There's not going to be an appeal against the duration of the ban, so you're without Glenn Rule, and you've come down hard on him as well.
Yeah, we have, you know, and what we've done is will be done internally. But as I've said, you know, Glenn, for what's happened, you know, I know he's really, you know, he's absolutely devastated. If I'm honest, he was in my office Thursday.
He looks it, doesn't he, when you see him around the place?
He's devastated what's gone on. And if anyone who knows Glenn, he's probably one of the nicest lads you'll ever meet. I've known the lad since he was 3-4 years of age, you know, and I know his family. He's one of the nicest lads, you know, you'll ever meet, and he is sincerely apologetic. Not just to me and the football club, but obviously the supporters, you know, because I think they a little bit of an affinity to him since he came in, you know, and what you see on the pitch is what you get, and he's at the moment of madness. He's made a big mistake, he knows that, but you show me a person who doesn't make mistakes, you know, and I'm bringing him here because we've all made them. You know, unfortunately his has been under the microscope, you know, because of what has happened in football in previous years. But all I can say is, if anyone knows Glenn or has met Glenn, you know, from a supporter's point of view, he couldn't be more apologetic, you know, and he's devastated, you know, what's happened. But we've drawn a line under it. It's about now making sure that we get him fit for when he comes back in November sometime.
That's good to hear, well said. And just finally, I mean, you can enjoy your Saturday night now, can't you? And that's a feeling you've not had for a few weeks with the sendings off and the defeats and so on. This gives you a bit of a lift now, doesn't it, going into that game on Saturday?
It gives me a lift. The biggest thing that gives me a lift more than anything is the fact that we've won the game. That's obviously, as a manager, that's what you always want to do. Was the manner of the performance against a good side who were on a great run of form. You know, next sides are always tough. You know, and you know what you're coming up against. But I thought in the main today we were much the better side. Yeah, we've only won 1-0. Yeah, it was a bit scrappy at times, but you know, to what you said before, John, you know, we've had lack of confidence. You know, I see it at Jose Mourinho was talking about his team having a lack of confidence. So, you know, we've been in games with 10 men, 9 men, drawing games that we should have probably won, losing at Chorley when, you know, we weren't great first half, or should have got something. Don't care who you are, that affects your confidence as a team. As a management team, we've got to stay strong and stick to our beliefs and try and install that in the players. And, you know, I've got to give great credit to the players because we've worked hard on Thursday, psychologically and, you know, from a tactical point of view and training point of view, and they've gone out and put the performance in.
It's a big 3 points. You're back up to 6th. Well done.
Thank you very much.